Should you start out with a YouTube channel or a podcast? Well, it's time to find out. Watch this video to learn the advantages and disadvantages of each one and which one I prefer to use. For more business and marketing advice, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to be notified when I post a new video every Monday. I'm Jamar Diggs, and I help coaches, consultants, service-based experts turn their YouTube channel into a money-making machine so that they can start driving traffic to the offers that they love and get paid for it, honey. So we all know that we need authority-building content in order to get more clients from the internet, right? But there's so many ways that you can make that happen. And that's where most entrepreneurs get stuck. You could choose either YouTube videos or podcasts, but the issue is that we don't know which one to really use because there are pros and cons for each. So let's go ahead and take a moment and break these things down. So if you are on the fence on whether YouTube or a podcast is for you, by the end of this video, you're gonna have a full pros and cons list so that you can make the exact decision on which content platform works best for you. So let's dive into the podcasting pros, okay? So whenever I talk to coaches or consultants, like literally this is like the first thing that comes to mind, right? And I totally get why. There is such a low barrier to entry, right? That is the first pro, right? Anyone can start a podcast, right? And hop on whatever audio platform that they're using to go ahead and start recording, right? You don't have to be dressed up, right? You don't have to put on makeup or get your hair cut like how I do. You don't have to do any of that stuff in order to kind of produce and deliver this podcast, right? You could literally just be sitting down in your closet and go ahead and record it. Or you could be recording it up on like your phone, like with some podcast apps called like Anchor, right? It's very, very easy to just get it up and running. Another big pro about podcasting is that you have access to people in other places that content doesn't, right? So with a podcast, it's literally just an audio file. So anyone can listen to that. They can listen to it on their morning commutes, their afternoon commutes, when they're at the gym, when they're walking, when they're cleaning around the house, right? Like they could actively listen to the podcast while they're doing other things, right? And so that's one of like the things to where you have that access that other people don't. And so because of that, your podcast can be almost as long as you want it to be. It can be 20 to 30 minutes, right? And like no other platform really rewards you for having content that is that long, right? So you can go ahead and make a podcast that is 30 minutes long. Someone is listening to it, and at that same time, they're building that connection with you, right? They're getting to know you a little bit better. So it really does help you build that connection with someone even more. And so along with having that user's attention, the only way for you to be consistent, like you don't have to post every day for a podcast, right? All you have to do is upload one audio file once a week. And that's it, right? So that's pretty like great as far as consistency. Like you don't have to do that much whenever it comes to producing it, right? You can just take one day out of maybe 1 month and go ahead and record for podcasts and then start editing. So now it's time for us to go into the cons of podcasting because there are a few. So the number one con is that it's very, very hard to build a following, right? Podcasting is not a social media platform, right? So it's very hard to build that following up, right? In fact, you need to have your own following in order for a podcast to be a little bit more successful, right? Because otherwise, it's only going to be you and your mama listening to your podcast, and we don't want that. Now, speaking of following and how people are finding your podcast, right? Like people find it differently, right? They find it because they know who you are. The next point is that your podcast, it can't be discovered, right? There's no way for anyone to search for your podcast. There's no way for anyone to really know about this podcast without you actively doing something like getting onto someone's live and talking about your podcast. Like you have to actively promote this podcast every single day, right? In order for you to get that return on investment, which is kind of like a pain, right? Like why can't it just work for you? Why can't you just put it out and then kind of be done with it. We're already busy. Why do we now we have another like baby to take care of? Oh my gosh, right? Right? That's kind of what it feels like sometimes, because like you're putting in all this work, recording this podcast, and like now you have to work so hard on getting more people in it, right? It's not discoverable. No one can find it in search. No one can find it on Google. No one can even find it if they search Instagram, really, right? So it's like, it's very, very hard for you to build that up without having that extra help with like an algorithm of some sort or a search engine of some sort to help like push people to your podcast. It's all on you. And so when I say that it's all on you, that means that this is what you have to do in order to promote your podcast, okay? Buckle up, get ready. So if you have a podcast manager or a podcast team, they normally give you like an audiogram for you to post up on your stories or to post up on your Instagram post or whatever you need to, right? But that's the extent that they go, right? So now it's up to you to get onto other people's platforms and promote yourself, to promote your podcast, right? You have to now bring in guests to your podcast so that you can use their platforms in order for people to know more about your podcast, right? You see how you have to actively do these things, and now you're like including all these other people to like, that's how you're like kind of trying to insert yourself into their own audiences. That is a lot of work, girl. Okay, wouldn't it just be great if you could just record your podcast and then let people just come to you? Like that is literally like all that I have time for. Right? So I don't know if you feel that. Give me like a 1 in the comments or something, okay? Because like time is money, honey, and if we're working this hard to get people to like learn about our podcast, why don't we just get them to work with us? Anyway, let's take some time real quick because I want to ask you this really quick question. Like, did you know that your podcast was not discoverable, right? Did you know that it was like the process for you in like that you had to take in order to get traffic to your podcast? Like, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really interested, because people don't think about that whenever they do it. They think about, oh, it's easy, right? Everyone is doing it, right? And everyone must be really good at it, right? And so I should be able to do it. But then when you start your podcast, or when other people start their podcast, they don't recognize how much work they have to do in order to get their followers off of Instagram to watch the podcast. That's the tricky part. And so now let's talk about the pros and cons of YouTube, okay? So first, the YouTube pros, okay? So let's talk about that a little bit, right? So first things first, let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room, okay? No, you don't need a big old like YouTube set. You don't need like big flashy lights. You could literally just start with your phone and a window. Like just sit inside of a window, put your phone on like some kind of stand, and then just start recording. You feel me? That's really all that you have to do, right? So again, there can also be a low barrier to entry, right? You can literally do it with your cell phone. The other pro is that YouTube is a search engine, okay? So YouTube is the second largest search engine, right? And it's owned by the first largest search engine called Google. Exactly, right? Isn't that amazing? So here is what happens. It's YouTube and Google's job, right, as a search engine to deliver the most relevant information to someone that is searching for something, right? And so people are searching for solutions all the time up on YouTube. I challenge you to go to YouTube right now, watch this video first and then do this, and then do this, okay? So I want you to look at like whatever field that you're in, find a question that you're asked all the time, put it inside YouTube, and I can guarantee you there are other people in your field talking about that same issue, right? Why are you not up there? Okay, so anyway, you see how easy that is. And then also look at the views that they're getting when they're answering that question through a video, okay? I'm just saying it's very easy to rank for these things. And so it's their job to do that, right? So it's like you are immediately more discoverable by just using YouTube. Like that's the thing that is so cool about it. And like along with YouTube and Google like working with you, it's the algorithm that's doing all of this, right? And so when you have like these types of content that you are pushing out, right? YouTube is taking it saying, hey, thank you. Now we're gonna pair it with someone who is searching for this type of information basically, right? That's what it is essentially doing. Now, I wanna tell you a little story about how I made over the past, I wanna say 6 months, I made $14,000 just from my content on YouTube, right? Because it was being found by Google and YouTube search, okay? Just being real, right? And those videos were videos that I made in 2019, okay? So a year ago from the date of this video, okay? So like your YouTube video has a longer shelf life than any other form of content really, right? Maybe an Instagram post lasts about 3 days and then you stop getting the engagement on it, right? Your podcast, you have to actively push out your podcast episodes, right? And there's no way for anyone to find the podcast where you talk about this one tip that they want to know, right? So it's kind of hard. It's really hard for them to find it. Now, for YouTube, when people are searching, honey, they are in it to win it, okay? They are going to be binge watching your content. They're going to be served other suggestions of your content. So it's very, very easy for you to be found, for people to build that know, like, and trust factor with you, and then eventually go ahead and buy from you. And so now let's talk about frequency, right? Because all this stuff sounds good, right? So how many videos do I have to do? And the news is that you just have to post once a week. The standard is posting one video 1 time a week. It's the exact same thing as a podcast, okay? And when I say consistently, you just do that, and then after you do that, after you do all of like the upfront work yourself, like the planning of the YouTube video, the recording of the YouTube video, then giving it to your team to edit the video, right? And now you're getting ready to upload it. After you do all that stuff upfront, 1 time a month, and then you just schedule out the videos to be published each week, bam, YouTube takes it and starts working, right? So that's really the amazing thing about YouTube. The last pro that I have whenever it comes to YouTube is that it's super, super easy to repurpose content, right? So I'm such a big fan of repurposing content, and YouTube makes it so much easier for you to do that, right? Because it has all the forms. It has the visual component and it has the audio component, right? So you can literally just like slice and dice and transcribe and do all the things, create graphics out of like your amazing funny moments, create like memes out of it. You can do all these things that you probably cannot do with like a podcast, right? Because all you have is that audio file. It can only go but so far. So that's why I love YouTube for repurposing content. Like especially if you just make YouTube your hub, you can literally take that one piece of content and spread it out for months on end. And so now let's just talk a little bit more about what the YouTube cons are, okay? Because there are a few. I'm not just gonna sit here and tell you that YouTube is freaking amazing without telling you some of those cons, right? So let's talk a little bit more about those. Now, when it comes to YouTube, you do have to plan a little bit more, right? So even though I said before that you can start with your smartphone, you do have to plan a little bit more, right? So you do have to figure out where do you want to set up, right? And you want to figure out if the background that you're choosing is what you're comfortable with, like other people seeing on the camera, right? And being a little bit more consistent with like cleaning up the back area. Like it's just more like logistics that you have to plan for, but it's not even like that. It's not even that bad. It's just like figuring out where do you want to film, and then is it clean? But still, like just make sure that that's taken care of. The other con to YouTube is that you may have to learn a little bit more of the technical side of the YouTube algorithm, right? Because it's not just like you posting a video on YouTube and then just kind of boom, you're viral, or boom, there you have like all of like your viewers, right? There is a strategy behind it, right? And that's really what I take my clients through, right? Like especially in like my done for you VIP day service called YouTube for Profit, where I'm making that 3-month YouTube strategy for them and giving them all the tools that they need to make sure that they are ranking on YouTube and Google search. Sometimes you have to learn that yourself if you're not willing to like hire an expert to do it, right? And so that's what really one of the things. But keep in mind, you have that possibility to rank, right? You have that possibility to be found on YouTube search and Google search. When you make a podcast, you don't have that possibility at all. Ooh. Ow. And then finally, for the con is editing. Sometimes with editing, it can be a little bit more difficult because you're trying to figure out like where you look good. Like maybe you're trying to see more attention to like what you're doing on the camera and what you're saying, right? So it's like a little bit more things to look out for when you're editing. But Also, podcasting has that same con for editing. Like if you are not a techie and if you don't really understand how to edit things, then like that may be a little bit of a learning curve for you, but it's very, very easy. Both platforms, both YouTube and podcast, is very, very easy to edit things. Like it's just as simple as like copying and taking out and then putting things together. It's very, very easy, girl. Like, don't even worry about it. But, or you can literally just like hire someone who knows it. There's tons of other experts out there that know how to edit videos very, very well. So that all you have to do is just record, show up like how I'm doing right now, and then I'm gonna send this to an editor, right? Very, very easy to do. And so there are all the pros and cons. So I hope that you've been taking notes because that is the full list of the pros and cons list for both podcasting and YouTube. I'm very curious of what you chose, okay? So if you chose YouTube as a resource that you're gonna be starting out with for your content and marketing strategy, welcome. Hey, welcome to the fam, girl. Welcome to the fam. And I want to invite you to apply for my YouTube for Profit VIP day, okay? That's gonna be where I go ahead and give you the whole 3-month strategy so that you can start ranking, right? So if you're choosing YouTube as that platform for you, but you're a little bit afraid of like the technology side, go ahead, click link down below and apply and see if we're a good fit, okay? Now, if you chose podcasting as your platform, that's fine. I'm so excited. I want you to stay tuned for the next video. In the next video, I'm breaking down how you can make YouTube and your podcast work together, right? So that you can still be discovered, but you are still using podcasting as your like main platform. So I give you a little bit of, I don't call them hacks, but they're hacks, of like how you can make the algorithm work for you so that you can start sending more traffic to that podcast so that when you're starting out and if you have a smaller like following, you're not upset or sad because no one's really like knowing about your podcast, right? Let's go ahead and use that YouTube platform to go ahead and send traffic that way, okay? If you like this video, please let me know by subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and tagging me on Instagram with this screenshot. And don't forget to comment down below with which platform that you chose, okay? I want to read them. I want to know more about what you're thinking. And until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.